there, this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. I am your host, Nina Perez, and we are here to discuss life topics to challenge and transform your thinking. Let's do this. So I am really excited because I have somebody from Australia, and all of you that know me know that that is my bucket place. That's where I'm going before I kick the bucket. So this is Edward Zia, and he is a certified practicing marketer and an international master coach, and has mentored thousands of winners globally to help them get more clients, win top positions, and become leading personal brands. As a master grade coach, Edward has exceeded a threshold of 10,000 plus personal coaching hours, making him the leader in his field. And he is helping individuals generate millions and millions of dollars. And he loves what he does. So I am really, really excited to have him here because he didn't just get there. It took him some time to get there. And that is what I wanted to talk to him about today. So Edward, thank you for being here with us today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I got to say, we love our American brothers and sisters, and
Thank
big
you.
love to all of you from down under.
Thank you. I hope to go there one day. I really do. It's always been a dream place for me. So,
And you know what? A lot of I mean, we're close allies. We have a lot of Americans living in Sydney, and
mhm.
you know what? We'd love to have you here. Sydney's a beautiful place, and I will show you around. We love America and love
Yeah.
Americans.
Oh, thank you. My son went there for 2 months and did not want to come back home. So he had to leave because the government's like, you need to go. But he wanted to stay. So Edward, if we can just start off really quick about who you are. I just want to know. I know I give a little bio, but that's not really who you are. Give me a little bit about who you are.
Mm. So as I said, on high level international master coach, with my wonderful wife Lassie, run a global education business, helping people become influencers, and on a more personal level. So I guess father of two kids. I'm quite politically active as well.
Awesome.
So I'm actually a member. I'm trying to translate. We've got slightly different languages. So I'm a member of the Australian Liberal Party, which I try and say to Americans is like, when it comes to money and personal rights, we're like Republicans. When it comes to social issues like gay marriage, we're Democrats. So a bit of a hybrid. So we're like Republicans on money, but socially we're Democrats is the way I try
Right.
and put it, right? So we're quite politically active in Australia. And also too, I do a lot of charity work as well. So I'm a Christian, and I do a lot of work in the community as well. So I do a lot of work,
Oh,
not
that's
only in terms of business, but also locally in terms of, politics, Christianity, that sort of thing.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm a Christian as well. So, getting involved with people and taking care of people is a big deal for us, right? That's something we have to do. It's a mandate.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I'm really drawn to your story. So, if people don't know you, I don't know how they don't, because I see you on LinkedIn like everywhere, right? You are the LinkedIn guy for me anyway, because I just recently transitioned to going on to LinkedIn from like Facebook and stuff. And I'm glad I did. I'm
Oh, yeah.
finding a lot of like-minded people, very professional content. It is just more refreshing.
Yeah. And look, with respect to people on Facebook and
Yeah,
Instagram, again, I say this with respect to all my Facebook friends out there. Facebook's not the platform it was 10 years ago.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's just, it's really, it's sort of like, you know, like for example, LinkedIn is way better now than what it was 5 years ago. And I don't know anyone that thinks Facebook is better now than what it was 5 years ago.
Right, right. It's changing. It's definitely changing. But I was like, so when I saw you, I'm like, wow, he has great content. I love what you talk about. I love how strategic you are, and I also like how straightforward you are.
Mm.
That really resonates with me because I'm that way as well. I mean, the show is called No Sugar Added, for goodness sakes,
Yeah.
right? So, so that
Totally. Total
really
red
like
pill.
that
We're totally
really
red
like
pill.
yeah. You know, I went onto your website and I was reading about you and reading about all you have been through. And that's what I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit as well. Like you have a very up and down past. You've gone through quite a bit in your life, quite a
Yep.
bit. So I
Mm.
wanted to talk to you about that because I want to show people that there is a journey that we're all on, but we
Yeah.
don't have to be stuck where we are, right? So can you tell us a little bit, if you don't mind going there a little bit about your past and what you've been through?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give the condensed versions just so we don't, we're respectful of everyone's time. So in short, I've lived and I like telling the story from this point of view. Up until the age of 10, I was a very normal suburban kid. So up until the age of 10, had birthday parties. At the time, I had a Commodore 64. I was actually quite a popular kid leading a very normal life. Then when around about when I was 10 years old, we had a big family breakdown. My mother she survived, by the way. My mother got terminal cancer, but she survived.
Mm,
However, in relation to your question, we had a big family breakdown and I found myself without a home, which was very bad. So it's sort of like almost a switch flicked when I turned 10 years old. I went from sort of this wonderful suburban sort of upbringing to a
mhm.
very dark and troubled past. I lived in a lot of different places, spent a bit of time on the street as well. And moving ahead, when I was 19, I just, I was at high school and we had the very good looking, charming army recruiters come to our school, hand out pamphlets. And it's like, they just spoke to me. It's sort of like, oh yeah, we pay for everything and you can leave and you can start a brand new life. And I'm like, where do I sign up? I'm out
Yeah,
of here. I quit. I'm done. Like, where do I sign
right.
up? So at the moment, and a lot of us were like that. So I was, where I was, it's sort of like when the recruiter comes, it's sort of like, yep, take me, take me. It's sort of like, I don't know what's like in America, but in Australia, it's the opposite. Everyone wants to get into the army or the police
Mhm.
force. It's very hard to get in. Even in wartime, you can't get in Australia. It's really hard, really hard. So, yes, I was very lucky to get in. And when I was 19, I left and joined the army. And
Yeah.
very lucky to. So I was a combat engineer. I was like a private, like in the army, and a combat engineer. And based on my heritage, I come from an Islamic background before I converted to Christianity. And I was very lucky to basically be invited by the federal government. Australia, we call it the AFP, which is the Australian Federal Police. It's a bit like your FBI
Right.
with a dash of
Mhm.
CIA, is the best way I can put it, right? And a dash
Yeah.
of the DEA. And anyway, I ended up working in drug enforcement for a few years. So it was amazing.
Wow. How long
Yeah.
were you in the military?
About 3 or 4 years. And that was a
Okay.
combination of, I was in the military the whole time, but the military doing like the more army sort of
Hmm.
private stuff plus drug enforcement so it's with the AFP. It's a bit like you would say in American terms, like DEA sort of work I was
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay. So don't mess with you. Got it. Check. Uh, so you did skip over it a little bit, but you said you spent some time in the streets as well.
Yeah. So look, it's and look, I'm not here to, I've reconciled with my parents. They're wonderful people. They're good, honest
Yeah.
people who made some mistakes. So I just don't want to, I'm not
Yeah.
having
Of
a shot at my
course.
parents here, but again, I got to tell the truth as well. But yeah, look, family breakdown, and basically, yeah, it's I was in a few different foster homes, and a few times I was out on the street being looked after by the Salvation Army at times. So it was some tough years there for sure.
Yeah, yeah, tough years and stuff that people are really going through, 2020 did hit our economy
Mm,
very hard here in the States.
mm,
And that was, that was happening a lot to families as well. That's why I asked, because it is something that's real, right? It's not about bashing anyone. It's about reality that life can be really hard and we go through a lot of hard things. And I'm really, I'm excited about what you're doing on LinkedIn and I'm excited about your workshops. I actually do view the recordings. They're very good, and they're very informative. So I thank you for that. So I wanted to go there because I want to show people that where you are is not where you have to be, you know? So I mean,
absolutely.
your career, right? You've changed even your career, right? Unless you're
Yeah.
still doing drug enforcement while you're teaching LinkedIn.
Well, on that note, right? So the answer is, so I'm not doing drug enforcement. However, because I'm a veteran, much like in America, like Australia and America have a lot of similarities. Much like America, if you're a veteran, you get an elevated status in society, right? Much like America, right?
Mhm.
And so as a veteran, I do a lot of political work. So I do a lot of political work. I still do a bit of
Good.
operational work with the federal government. And so even though I'm technically not in the army or the armed forces, I'm still helping them out as a veteran. So
That's
it's
great.
all that experience is very relevant today, is because again, and what I say to a lot of people, it's not just about, Edward Zia being some guy on LinkedIn. I also do a lot of work in the community and also active politically as well. So very politically active on
Oh, okay.
both a local and also national Australian level.
Oh, that's great. Okay, that's good. So now, how did you transition to what you're doing now? Because you have a whole program now, right? So, um, are you using all of those experiences to kind of like help you weave through this? Because one of the things you said that also resonated with me, because you're a straight talker. You're like, get the toxic people out.
Oh, oh,
I,
totally.
I love that you said that. So that was really like, to me, I was like, yes.
And if I could go forward on that note, and I actually did a webinar on this topic, and I actually upset a few people, right?
Yeah.
And the people I upset were toxic people.
Right.
Only a toxic person. I use a metaphor of, you know how you meet like a wife or a husband that's cheating on their spouse, right? You know, you meet those sort of people that they're
Yeah.
cheating. Whenever you just talk about the topic of cheating, they get very nervous and defensive. It's sort of like, it's sort of like, if you talk about cheating around me, I don't care because I'm not
Right.
cheating. Guilty conscience, right?
Yeah.
I had a few people on the webinar actually abuse me and send all these horrible messages. Anyway, but interesting point though is to go further on your statement, Nina. I couldn't agree with you more. Is it's not just that toxic people are bad. If you have too many toxic people in your life, you'll actually become a failure.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And the thing I've observed, let's say you've got, I don't know, 2 or 3 toxic people in your life. They'll slow you down, but you'll still get away with things, right?
Right.
Yeah, they'll annoy you, but you still become successful. It's when you've sort of got 5 or 10 toxic people in your life, that's when you're going to end up a failure. Like, be it you're going to end up, you're just not going to succeed. You're either going to be stuck in some dead end job getting nowhere, or you might even go down a darker turn, especially like in a place like Sydney. Not so bad anymore, but for example, cocaine was a huge problem in Sydney probably about 10 years ago. And that stuff can really mess you up. So you'd have high flying professionals who'd start, doing a bit of coke for fun. And 3 years later, they're losing their jobs because they're so mentally fried from years of that environment. So what happens is that little blow at a party turned into an addiction that actually destroyed their marriages and destroyed their careers.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm.
That's powerful. And I do like that you mentioned that. I guess, surprised that you did, right? I thought that you were going to talk about like your marketing and all of that, but it is so true how all of those things kind of interweave, right? They all are going to be valuable and important. And you're so funny. The toxic people were mad at me. It's so true. It's such a
It's sort
true
of like,
statement.
and toxic people are the worst sort of people ever because, okay, I'll give you an example, right? If someone wants to go, look, I'm not supporting self-harm here, but if you listen, I'm not saying I'm not supporting self-harm, but look, the other day, if someone does something bad to themselves, I'm not supporting self-harm, but it's their choice to do it, right? Okay, I sort of get it, right? I disagree, but I sort of get it. But when they do bad things to other people, that I've got a problem with, and that's where I want to put my foot down. And the thing about toxic people is what makes toxic people so dark and insidious is that they got to bring down people with them. They just can't take themselves down. They've got to bring down everyone with them. And the reason why a lot of toxic people got so angry at me is because they're getting nervous because I'm not the only one calling them out, because there's been a huge change in global culture. Whereas I think for years, toxic people slid under the radar, where now there's a zero tolerance policy gets them to the point where companies are now writing into the HR policies, toxic behavior will not be tolerated. And this is what we define as toxic behavior, right? So it's, and I don't know about you, but I'm in Sydney. Sydney is the most litigious place in the world, right? We have got the most lawyers per capita in the world, and we've got the per capita, we've got the most lawsuits. So everyone in Sydney loves suing everyone, right? Just the way we are, right? Just here's an example. You know that bad stuff. Coca-Cola pulled that anti-white stuff recently.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's illegal in Australia. If you did that in Australia, you would get fined and shut down, and you have executives arrested. So I don't know what the laws are in America, but that's, for example, if you did that in Sydney, let's say that happened in Sydney, the next morning you'd be flooded with lawsuits.
Right.
I get within 20 minutes, people would take the photo in Sydney. They'd ring up their lawyer friend. They have a letter on the desk that morning suing them. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I'm actually not kidding.
I agree. I listen. I believe that. In the U.S., I don't know what I got to tell you. I feel like I don't even know what the laws are anymore, to be quite honest. I feel completely lost. Like, no, they didn't really do that. Did they really do that? Like, that's how I'm feeling like almost every day. So I try not to listen to the news. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too much.
I'm not defending the news here. We're not too bad in Australia because Australians, where we're different, I was saying this before off camera, the way I describe Australian culture to wonderful Americans like yourself, we're like Texans with no guns, but triple the aggression. who are
I
Australians.
love that.
So take away a Texan's guns, but make them really aggressive and stick them through university and upset them. That's an Australian. So that's
Okay,
like, so we
yeah,
don't take.
that's such a good picture. I totally get it. Oh my gosh. So, how was your process, or did you have toxic people in your life? I guess that's the first question. Yeah, right. So,
Yeah,
how did you
absolutely.
go through that process of knowing, what these toxic people were doing, or identifying it so you can start removing that from you?
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of my life, it probably, just being honest with you, probably wasn't until my mid-20s that I sort of started becoming aware of toxic people, because
Mhm.
what makes toxic people insidious is that you don't know that they're toxic,
Right.
right? That's the insidious nature of them. So I had a lot of toxic people in my life, some toxic, some not. And to be honest, sometimes I was the toxic person. So before in calling out my own behavior, I had times in my life where I was the villain, and again, and I say that with absolute shame and redemption, right? Um, you know, and I suppose it's getting a handle on toxic behavior. So when have I been toxic? Looking in the mirror, and I have had many times in my life where I've been toxic, and I've done, bad things to good people, which is wrong, and I greatly apologize for that. But also too, though, is when you can spot toxic behavior in other people, be it they're doing it to you
Yeah.
or they're doing something toxic to another person, and where's that line, and where do you say, no, I'm not? Eventually everyone's got their line. Eventually someone crosses your line, and you put your foot down, and say, no, I'm not having part of this anymore.
So, do you have like a inner feeling or a gut feeling or something, or a flag that comes up when you're like, because I think sometimes you can feel that energy off of people, at least I think sometimes you can. So does something trigger in you where you go, this is probably not a good relationship, whether it's client or you, because sometimes it could be somebody you're trying to coach, like a client, right? So what's that trigger for you, or what is an indicator?
There can be things like when people are, they're doing something bad to someone else. They're not paying their bills. They're just
Okay.
saying negative, weird stuff. Or what happens is they're not listening to reason. They're sort of, entering their own little reality, and they're just saying weird stuff that doesn't make any sense. Or they're just obsessed with themselves. You get a lot of toxic people are just obsessed with themselves, right? They, in their own
Okay. Yeah.
universe, the sun, the stars, and the heavens and the earth revolves around them. Like, they're really that messed up, right?
Right.
And when you're sort of dealing with people like that, and I'll call out that behavior, like, and I'll be, it depends how light it is, because look, here's the point, and we all have toxicity in us, right? We're not all
Right. Of
pure beings,
course.
right?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's like anything. It's like good versus evil. It's sort of like, an evil person can become good through redemption, and a good person can become evil through a few bad decisions they keep making.
Right, right,
So
right.
it's sort of like how you handle that. I often call it out, right?
Yeah.
And I try as nice as possible steering people away from the toxic behavior. But fortunately, 95% plus of people you talk to don't want to be toxic. If you call out some
Yeah.
toxic behavior, and likewise, if someone calls out some toxic behavior in me, and I think they're correct, I'll be the first to say, hey, this is wrong. I shouldn't, I'm the first to sit there and look in the mirror and say, no, this is not me. I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. That's so good, right? That talks a lot about knowing self. Because I'm the same way. I actually I like good critique if it's going to help me grow. I
Hmm.
like that. That empowers me, right? Because it makes me feel like, okay, that is a bad behavior that I'm doing. I need to really, really stop doing that, right? Whether
Hmm.
it's a negative thought process or anything like that. So I like that you said that, because I think it's really difficult to always pinpoint toxicity, like you said, right? Like you didn't realize until a certain time where something went off and you said, oh, wait a minute, this is
Yeah.
toxic, you know?
Yeah, and I remember. I'll use like a boy girl example, right? When I was a young handsome man working in the government, I met this lovely young Canadian lady, right? And and whilst we had a lot of fun, I remember one time, we were just at a place just sleeping, and at 2 a.m. she got up, went to the fridge, and had a drink of vodka,
Ooh,
and I'm like. Um, I'm not going to say a name, like, even though
right.
I'm like, we'll call her Kylie for argument's sake. I'll say, Kylie, did you just have a drink of vodka? It's like a Tuesday or something, right? I'm like,
Right.
Kylie, you just have some vodka? Yeah, I did. It's like, we need to talk in the morning. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right,
You know?
right,
And,
right.
and interesting in the case of Kylie, after about a month or two, I was a mental wreck after she
Mm,
wasn't, now using her, Kylie as an example. She was actually a very good natured person. She had a very good heart, but she had so many toxic patterns.
that's so
After a
good.
month or two with her, I said, I'm done. I was just so stressed out after being with her.
Yeah.
It was the highest stress relationship of my life, right? And and I said, look, I love you and all, but I got to end this. I was like a normal guy about 2 months ago, and I feel like I'm going insane. And I was normal till you showed up. I'm out of here. You know.
Right. That is so good. That is so good. You know what that is too? Is you're self-reflecting also, right? If you're noticing that your patterns are changing, then
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself why your patterns are changing. That is so, so powerful. I want to switch a little bit and talk about um what you do. Like what are your success habits? And one of the best things that I've gotten out of doing straight talk is talking to people like you who are successful and have developed a way of becoming successful. So my question is, I'm just curious of what are your like habits of success? What are your success habits that that you do? Like I've spoken to some people who say every morning they wake up, they meditate and then they go take a cold plunge in the shower, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have like a routine or something you do to keep you going?
I go to the gym like 2-3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week if I can. So I go to the gym a few times a week because I like it. I don't own. We've got a car for the family, so wife and the kids have a car, but I personally don't have a car. And I live in a big city, so it's easy. So a bit like in New York, and I try
Hmm.
and walk it and public transport as much as I can. And I always say, so Sydney is a bit like take New York and Florida and stick them together and fill it full of Texans. That's kind of Sydney as well, right?
Right.
Kind of where we are. So you got so for a place like Sydney, you don't often drive. It's a big city, take public
Right.
transport. And while I'm on public transport, I actually listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube. I listen to my favorite speakers, so I use
Good.
that public transport time as an opportunity to listen to self-improvement. So at least an hour a day, I'll listen to my favorite speakers, coaches, and motivators. And the other thing is as well is turn off the fake news. So especially now, and again, whether you're on the left side of politics or the right side of politics, what we can all agree on is how corrupt the news media has become over the past few years.
Yeah.
And I say, whether you're a massive lefty or a right winger, turn off the TV and you will be so much better off.
So true. I do like that you feed yourself though with content, right? So you're listening to speakers that are motivating you, that are lifting you up, that are filling you. That's good.
There's two parts. One is pulling away from the negative propaganda that you'll see
Hmm.
on mainstream TV, the deep state propaganda. So pulling away from the propaganda. So you're not getting that mental toxicity dumped into your head, and then you're filling it with what you want to fill it with. It's
Right.
very important. And also too, as well, I'm a Christian. I come from a Middle Eastern background, right? So proud
Right.
Middle Eastern Australian. And a lot of people don't know this actually. Even whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, praying at least 5 times a day in the Middle East is very common. So I pray at least 5 times a day, which is very common. So again, Christian, Muslim. A lot of people think praying 5 times a day is an Islamic thing. Yeah, Christians pray a lot in the Middle East.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different in that regard. So a lot of prayer, which you would say is a form of meditation in the context of what we're talking.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. And then now you have this amazing program and it's called Excellence Above Coaching. Is that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah, so our business
Okay.
is called Excellence Above Coaching, and we've got a lot of different courses, workshops, mentoring, whatever people are after.
Right. And that's more to, are you developing, well, I know that you do a lot of marketing, right? So are you coaching them through that, like business coaching and stuff like that? Or does it ever get personal where you
Oh,
have to
it's
do some
it's,
personal
it's
coaching?
really personal because
Okay.
it all gets very personal because I'll say to someone, let's say it's just more generic LinkedIn conversations, right? So let's say I'm looking over their LinkedIn profile. I've just signed up to my program and I'm just onboarding them, right? To do. I got a new client I'm onboarding this afternoon, and I'm just going through their stuff, and I'll say, oh yeah, hey, look, just to let you know, probably want to start doing some videos, want to do that, and they'll start freaking out, right? But yeah, I can't do a video. Oh, why is that? Oh, well, I'm just, then it becomes a mindset issue, doesn't it? Because
Right.
sort of like, because I mean, any moron like me can wander in and say, yeah, you should do videos. But it's sort of like, yeah, you should just run 20 kilometers. Oh, sorry,
Right.
go run 15 miles. Just go do it. It's
Right.
okay. So Nina, just go run 15 miles now. It's okay. You can do it. Like it's any moron can say that,
Right.
right? But you need a certain person who has the skills to help get you to that case. In the case of running 15 miles as an example.
Right. And are you everything is on Zoom now, right? Everything is video, everything is on LinkedIn, everything. So are you taking clients from all over the world, or are you just trying to stay where you are in
I don't think
Australia,
so global.
or
So completely global. So over half of our clients are outside of Australia. So we're a global
okay.
business. However, having said that, we do. So the other one of my other side roles as well is also am a like community manager ambassador for Meetups. Meetup, the New Yorker company.
Hmm.
Also help run Meetup across Australia, more community support, and also got my own Meetup group. So I actually run. So as of a few months ago, I'm now running about 5 to 6 Meetup groups every month across Australia through me and my team. So we're doing face to face again, completely fully. And it's awesome.
Oh, that's so great. I know. I saw a video recently that you were doing. I'm like, wait, is he around people? Like they're like all with each other. It was awesome.
Yeah. Because
Like
the thing is, Australia's a great country. We've got a very strong, stable government, right? Very strong, stable government. And that's one of the great things about Australia. And we're aware, and again, whether you're from the left of politics or
right.
right of politics, whether you're from Africa or Eastern Europe or the Middle East or whatever, one thing that people agree on is Australia's got a very stable government, very stable system. So, it's, which is good. And so they handled COVID very well. COVID was handled very beautifully. So we had a little bit of lockdown, but compared to the world, we had the lightest level because of the stability of our government. And I would say Australia's probably got some of the strongest healthcare in the world. We've got advanced healthcare, strong, stable government.
That's good.
We did very well during COVID. So if you got COVID, you'd be in a free hospital being treated tomorrow, that day, right?
Right.
And if you don't get COVID, the government's doing what they can to protect you. So very lucky to be in Australia. So again, we didn't have much. We get the odd lockdown scare here and there, right? But we don't have those blanket lockdowns, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that is wonderful. And good for you for business, right? I mean,
Um,
you get to see your people. I mean, the kind of business that you have and the coaching that you're doing, you want to kind of have that eye to eye, you know?
yeah. Yeah,
That's great.
and also too, and I'm not the only person saying this, by the way. I'm not the only person saying this, but the human soul is not built for Zoom.
I agree.
It never was designed for that.
I
And
agree.
it's sort of, and whilst, look, at the end of the day, again, this is what I say to people. If I'm talking to someone out of town, of course we're going to use Zoom. Why not, right? But if we're in the same city, I'm the first guy to say, I'll ask them, hey, do you want to meet face to face? If they say no and they want to do it on Zoom, fine. But I'm the first guy to say, do you want to meet face to face?
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. There's just something about that anyway. There's that human connection, right?
Yeah, and you got to remember, no one's talking about. Well, people are starting to talk about this now. People are now coming out with it, but the rise in suicides and mental health
Yeah.
issues that we've
Yes.
seen globally. For example, look, I'm all for I want to get my vaccine shot once I can. I'm all for ending COVID, but the use of unnecessary excessive lockdown creates other problems in society,
Big
which
time.
many of us believe. Again, you don't want the cure being worse than the disease.
That's so true. Um, I was reading some statistics that were what you're describing. Mental health was a big issue. It caused a lot of triggers in people that people didn't know they had. It's caused a lot of problems. Even like domestic violence and child abuse has gone up like 63% here in the States. So it's
Yeah.
a big issue. Yeah, it's a big issue. But hopefully we'll get through that.
Yeah, and I think it's a matter of the more people that come forward and talk about it is the better. And again, the good thing, again, saying this, again, lucky being Australia, Australians are pretty red pilled. We always have been. Australian culture is like, for example, political correctness never really took hold in Australia because Australian culture is the antithesis of political correctness, right? So it never really took hold here. So, for example, Australians just naturally quite red pilled. If we see a problem, we're the first to call it out. And if someone says you can't say that, we're the first to start pointing fingers and abuse them, right? It's just Australian culture, right? So Australian culture is very much, hey, let's be friends and let's be mates, but you can't tell me what to do. I,
Right.
I won't tell you what to do, and you can't tell me what to do. So that
Right.
real
Right.
independent. That's why I like Texans so much. So if any Texans are watching, we love you. Texans. I don't know. I just get texts like Aussies get Texans. We're kind of all cut from the same cloth for whatever
Right.
reason. Maybe we just evolved the same way. I can't explain it.
That's awesome. I think I was probably born in Australia maybe, and they just shipped me here because I feel the same way. That's great.
I think a lot of Americans and great Americans like yourself, a lot of Americans have changed lately. It really changed because you sort of, when you stop things like free speech,
Yes.
and again, I will say this again, I'm all for I want the vaccine shot. I'm all for ending COVID and all that. But just lockdown after lockdown.
Yeah. Yep.
What is the cure worse than the disease?
Right. Or the cancel culture for that matter, right? Everybody's canceling everybody. It's like there ain't gonna be nobody left.
The funny thing is,
Just canceling everyone. That's why I liked your approach about if you're toxic, this is not for you. Just not for you. So I appreciate that. And I want people to know more about you. So if you don't mind, before we close out, just letting us know how we can follow you more, like how we can support you, how we can, how can we find you, Edward?
Nina, you're too awesome. Please, add me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Just feel free to drop a note saying, "Hey, I saw you with Nina Perez." And just on that note too, if you are watching, if any of my fans especially are watching, please follow Nina Perez as well. So
thank you.
I'll be sharing this everywhere. So Nina Perez, so you are an amazing interviewer. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Oh, that's very nice. I appreciate that. And so your site is it your actual excellenceabovecoaching.com or
the best thing you do is just type Edward Zia into Google.
Okay.
And
yeah.
And
Well,
just
Edward is everywhere, so I'm sure we could find you.
Just type Edward Zia into Google. Just scroll past America's Most Wanted, the no-fly list, the CIA watch-out list. Just ignore all that, and then you'll see my website. No, just kidding.
Okay. We'll make sure to do that. That is hilarious. All right, guys. Thank Edward. You are the best, and I thank you for taking the time to do this. I know we have like right now it is 6:40 here p.m. So I'm glad that we were able to find a time that we can both do this and connect with each other. You're the best.
It's an honor. Nina, you are the ultimate interviewer ever, is all I can say.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yay. So guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to follow Edward Zia, Z-I-A. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, which is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Until next time. You have just listened to another great episode on Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Don't forget to subscribe so you can get more amazing content. Also visit our website and YouTube channel. Until next time, with more great episodes coming your way.